What is up, my dudes? We've got the Corporate Esports Association Dota 2 Spring 2019 tournament going on. Today we've got Nvidia against Facebook Slark Puckenberg. So Nvidia representing Nvidia. This game is from a few weeks ago. I'm still trying to catch up on the backlog of replays since I went traveling for 2 weeks. So may see some less conventional is not the right word. Heroes that didn't show up in the Disneyland Major, and heroes that did show up only in the Disneyland Major probably won't show up today, so it shouldn't influence the draft too much. Probably still going to see Drow Ranger and Bounty Hunter, maybe. We'll see. Although Bounty wasn't picked that much in the major. I guess it's not as viable for pro play. We're not going to see that off-lane punch the Zyran, unfortunately. Yeah, that's a lot of fun to watch. So let's hop into the draft. We've got a Silencer ban from Nvidia as the first ban. I don't think Silencer is a very good hero right now. The ulti will always be great. I don't think they're gonna change. I don't think Ice Frog will change anything about the Silencer ulti. It's just gonna exist as a fact of life, and it's always gonna be good. But the rest of Silencer's kit is pretty goddamn awful. So we'll see. It's interesting that Nvidia chose to ban it. The Troll ban makes a lot of sense. Tex plays this a lot. The carry for Slark Puckenberg. Gonna see a Razor ban come out from Facebook. Razor's a pretty good first ban. Just a very flexible hero pick. Especially as Nvidia has the first pick of the draft. So if you pick Razor in that first position, he can go to all three lanes. So it's like, it leaves your draft wide open. So it's a pretty good first pick overall. I'm gonna say Monkey King ban too. I feel like Monkey King's not quite first pick material, but definitely possible depending on how flexible the players are. That mid or safe lane Monkey King. I don't think we'll see a support Monkey King like the olden days when Basher used to work on the Wukong command. Doesn't work anymore, so support Monkey King is a little bit dead. Can see Jug banned out as well. Makes a lot of sense. Jug's a pretty strong hero in this patch. Very phase pickable material as well. Just like it feels pretty hard to stop Jug, even if he gets picked early on. The Blade Fury and the Omni Slash, you just have so much pseudo invincibility. You just have spell immunity and you actually become invincible for a few seconds during the Omni Slash. It can be really hard to deal with. Even if you draft to counter him, it's still pretty tough. I see Doom as well banned out. Doom's a great pick in this meta right now. It's just an offlaner who doesn't really care too much about getting harassed in the lane. Devour gives you so much regen now. They moved the regen from Scorched Earth to Devour, so you don't feel bad about maxing Devour anymore, and then you're always guaranteed to get farm in a game. Even if you have a rough start, you can always catch up by eventually munching your way through creeps. And then there's the RNG aspect of getting the Seda creep, and then the lane is actually so easy. You throw Hadoukens, you get that 5.5 HP regen. You'll see a early Warlock pick coming out of Nvidia. I've probably mentioned this a few times. Warlock doesn't feel like a very good hero to play right now. The Shadow Word mana cost just went up by so much in the past. You cannot cast too many Shadow Words anymore, and then you run out of mana, and like, well, now you're just a walking stick. Warlock does have pretty good stats compared to most other int heroes, but it's still not very good. If you were going to pick like a right click support, you could pick like Venge or something else instead. Slark Puckenberg already going into their reserve time in the first pick. Maybe this Warlock is kind of giving them a ride. It's a little bit of an uncommon pick, so maybe something to discuss on their side.
Dire's turn to make all the
They open with Enigma. Oh, that's pretty risky, because you can always just use the Warlock ulti, Chaotic Offering I think it's called, on the Enigma ulti and just cancel it. So this Enigma's gonna have a pretty tough time to get good black holes off, but you don't always need to get good black holes off. Sometimes the threat of the black hole is better than the black hole itself. One thing you can do is just like BKB and walk forward and threaten the black hole, and everyone is forced to run away. And you don't even need to use your black hole, just use your BKB for it. So Enigma's still a pretty strong hero, even if the black hole gets neutered. It also can build into those aura items that every team wants these days. We've also been seeing these pocket strats with Enigma, where you pull your 2 Ring of Regents. As Enigma, you always want to buy a Helm of the Dominator and a headdress at some point. So you start off with 2 Rings of Regen, and you can actually give those Rings of Regen to the offlaner, and it'll work for them. So the offlaner essentially gets 6 extra HP regen. I think maybe 4. I can't remember how much the Ring of Health gives. Ring of Regen. So you give the 2 Rings of Regen to the offlaner, so they're like pretty souped up for the laning phase, while you constantly deny the range creep to pull the wave back in as well. It creates a really difficult offlane to beat. So Enigma is still a pretty good hero, like even if the black hole is being countered by the Warlock ulti. Got to see Witch Doctor come out for Slark Puckenberg. I feel like Witch Doctor, he's on the up and up again. His Maledict cooldown got nerfed at level 1 from 20 seconds to 50. It was like, that's too much, but I think it went down to like 33 recently. So he's becoming more usable again. We're gonna now see Sven come out from Nvidia. I kind of like this a lot. Maybe we'll see the offlane Sven. It's a bit of a flex pick. You can see offlane or safe lane Sven. We normally see him in the safe lane role, but maybe gonna be that aura buyer for his team and focus on getting the war cries off. So an early 4 points of the war cry will help against the Witch Doctor Death Ward a lot. Maybe pick up a quick Vlad's as well, maybe a Crimson Guard. I don't think Crimson Guard works on the Death Ward, but it's still nice to have on his team. Or maybe just some sort of like big strength item as well to get more physical damage reduction for the Warcry. Actually, I haven't. They did nerf the Warcry scaling, so well, the Warcry as a support aspect, so it scales off your strength now instead of being a flat 500 damage. But let me just check the numbers on this Warcry now, because I can't remember off the top of my head. You do need some level of strength to get it back to where it was before. It does definitely get better. So it's 150 plus 250% of your strength. So to get back to the 500 that Sven used to have, you need to get 350 divided by 2.5. It's like 100 and something strength. It's definitely possible, especially on a core Sven. Sven's got a lot of base strength gain, and also you get the plus 40 from the God strength. Oh, not that much. Plus 30. You get the plus 40 with the talent. It's pretty nice, but that's level 25. You might as well get the Stormhammer duration. And definitely, as if you're not a carry Sven, you should definitely go for the Stormhammer talents. It's pretty sick. Just the Stormhammer dispels enemies. -6 Stormhammer cooldown brings it down to 7 seconds of cooldown at level 4. And then you get the 1.25 second duration stun, which brings the stun uptime. It brings the stun up to 3.25 seconds on a 7-second cooldown. Almost 50% uptime on this AoE stun that you can just spam, and it also dispels. So if anyone buys like a Crimson Guard on Slark Puckenberg, you can just dispel that as well. I definitely think that offlane is probably the way to go with Sven these days. He's still a little bit too slow when it comes to being a carry. The other thing is you tend to pick up all these like small items. You want the Echo Saber, Blink Dagger, BKB, Mask of Madness sometimes, and then you're already 4 or 5 slotted, and it's kind of hard to give any one of those up. So going from the mid game to the late game is very difficult on Sven. You need to pick up a lot more items, a lot more very expensive items to replace the small ones, which actually give you a lot of value. So Sven hits this mid-game timing where he's an absolute beast, and then he falls off for a little bit, and then he comes back up in the ultra late game. But it's kind of hard to make that transition.
Radiant team are now picking.
Ursa gonna come out from Slark Puckenberg. Interesting to pick the Ursa against Sven. The Fury Swipes gets blocked by the Warcry a fair amount. I didn't really talk about the ban, so we saw Rubik and Nyx ban. Rubik is a good ban against Enigma, just so he can't steal the black hole back, and Nyx as well. You can always spike Carapace, walk into the black hole, and that one, it doesn't cost you an ulti, so trying to limit Nvidia's options to cancel the black hole, restricting it just to this Warlock's ulti, which is a pretty long duration as well. Gonna see Dazzle come out from Nvidia. Interesting. Maybe we'll see Dazzle as the 5 and Warlock as the 4 position. I feel like we used to see 4 position Warlock a lot back in the days, but it's kind of hard to justify not going for an Ags first, but then Ags first is super all in and very difficult to get to. We're actually going to see Pudge come out of Slark Puckenberg. Is this going to be the famed offlane's Pudge? Maybe Slark Puckenberg watching the Dota 2 David Bowie video. I think that guy he was like going through like examples of why Matamba Man's Pudge is so god tier. I'm excited to see this. It's always a treat to watch Pudge in a match. Very painful to go up against Pudge, but as a spectator, Pudge is the best form of entertainment. It's going to be great as well. Dazzle, until he gets higher levels in the Shallow Grave, going to be pretty hard to get graves off on hooked targets because cast range is pretty small early on. It goes up significantly, it goes up to about 1,000 at level 4, so it's pretty good. Gonna see Sniper come out from Nvidia. A great lane counter against Pudge if Pudge decides to go mid, but they can always put this Pudge on the off lane, given the 2 extra ring of regens from the Enigma. I think that would be pretty cool. Also, the changes to Flesh Heap, giving you 5 HP regen at level 1. It's crazy. Everyone is going... don't even go right at level 1, go for Flesh Heap. Get that massive regen. Enigma with an extra regen pool to Pudge. This Pudge is going to be invincible in lane. And he's got pretty high base damage as well. So it's going to be pretty hard to lane against this Pudge. We'll see who Nvidia picks for the safe lane carry. They can also put Sniper in the safe lane to go for... They should probably put the Sniper wherever the Pudge is going. Make sure that he's always able to know where the Pudge is. Because if Pudge is not in his lane, he's clearly ganking or like hiding in the trees. But at least you don't have to worry about Pudge ganks, I suppose. And even if you get hooked, you might have a chance of fighting back if it's a laning scenario. Alright, gotta see Dusa banned out from Slark Puckenberg. It's a little bit odd. Normally you see Dusa in mid and Sniper in mid, so kind of have 2 mids. It's a little bit odd. Obviously you can switch it around a little bit, put Sniper or Dusa in the safe lane, but you really would prefer mid just because they get those extra levels early on. And also mid lane is a lot harder to gank than you would expect. It's wide open, there's not many trees to hide behind, so Pudge is going to have a harder time ganking mid, usually the case unless he gets an invis rune or commits a smoke to it. So you probably want to put Sniper in mid. Gonna see Storm Spirit Bandit. I like this a lot from Nvidia. Storm's gonna give this Sniper and Dazzle a lot of headaches, even the Warlock. So there's not too much catch right now on the side of Slark Puckenberg, except for a hook. But Ursa become the late game, the mid game tank that he is. Just you can always just blink in and then rage. Maybe we won't even see blink. It's not that common anymore. Actually, everyone's been going for phase drums, and you pop both at the same time. You're running at 500 move speed, something crazy like that, and don't need that blink if you're running close to max move speed. So we'll probably just see that instead from Slark Puckenberg. The lanes are still quite open. Not really sure where the Ursa or Pudge are going to go. The Ursa is probably going to be the position 1, or at least the safe lane. The safe lane. I'm going to pick Weaver for Slark Puckenberg. Yeah, like I said, there's not much catch. The disable is pretty hard to get off as well. There's going to be a lot of pressure on this Pudge right now to hit these hooks. So hopefully the last hero from Slark Puckenberg fixes the reach issues. Something a little bit more reliable than a hook or a cask.
5 seconds. Hurry, hurry.
They're gonna go with Alchemist. Ooh, okay, so it's gonna be that offlane Pudge. and safe lane Ursa, mid Alk. Alk against Sniper, it doesn't seem like Sniper would do too badly, but you can always drop that acid spray a bit further back where Sniper wants to be, and just harass him out with that, and maybe trade acid spray damage for right clicks. It's going to be a little bit rough for the Alchemist early on, but eventually, once he gets a few more levels, we'll see it's level 6, it should be pretty fine. Don't see much ganking potential from Nvidia either. Maybe the Dazzle could rotate, but the Warlock certainly can't. I feel like Nvidia's lineup is a little bit easier to execute. You've always got that Warlock ulti to counter the Enigma ulti. Sven is a more reliable stun. There's the Concoction now. I suppose is like a reliable stun, especially if you pick up the 2 talents, which make the Concoction really strong. The cooldown reduction and the extra 400 damage will actually eat these supports alive. They're very low armor heroes, especially now that Dazzle's ulti doesn't give him any armor anymore. Yeah, so maybe you do want the old weave back. But I feel like Nvidia, they're on a bit of a timer. These cores from Slark Puckenberg are really tanky. We've got this new anime loading screen coming out from the battle pass. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, I kind of worry that Sniper is just not going to deal enough damage in the late game against the Pudge. Oh, it's the Pudge and the Alk, right? And even the Ursa is going to be pretty difficult to take down. So let's introduce the teams real quick. On the side of Nvidia, we've got Bonta on the Weaver, Tim on the Dazzle, Wenthermo Zen Sarah on the Warlock, Kragglenaut on the Sniper, and Virgil Fan in Barmer in the Sven. So on the side of Facebook Slark Puckenberg, we got PhD Pursue Happiness directly on the Alchemist. Some Chinese name that I can't read, we'll call them SK because they're the letters I can read. Chilbro Swagons on the Witch Doctor, Fruitcakes on the Enigma, and Tex on the Ursa. So we'll see. Unfortunately, Pudge didn't get those 2 Ring of Healths that I was talking about. Enigma decided to go a bit greedy and pick up an early Soul Ring for himself. So normally the item build you see is like 2 Ring of Regens, and then you spend the rest of the money on Clarities, and then you have to ship out a few more Clarities to sustain yourself early on. It's not just like you can go straight into a Soul Ring with your opening items. And also going to see early point in Hook, so maybe not watching Zai play Pudge. But this game was from before the Disneyland Major, so the flash of inspiration isn't quite there for the madness. Early points in Hook is pretty all in. I would prefer him to go for... oh, actually, he's going to get the Hook onto the Weaver. Nice, getting a lot of damage on the Weaver early on. Going to force a Shadow Word to come out already. And like I mentioned, you can only cast 3 of these Shadow Words. He does have a Clarity and a Mango. Also going to be pretty difficult for the Pudge to break these Clarities, so maybe not too bad of a situation coming out of the Warlock here. Going to have a pause coming up. Sniper up against the Alchemist. Alk got a pretty good block out, so Sniper's going to have to attack uphill to get the range creeps. Hopefully PhD can keep the creep wave around this area, put the Sniper at a disadvantage. An early point in take aim. Actually not that common. Normally you see Shrapnel at level 1, but I guess it's a personal preference thing. You're not going to be able to get too much out of the Shrapnel either. The headshot does help you last hit. If you get a bit lucky on the last hits, you can get that extra damage, and Sniper's base damage is pretty abysmal, so any extra amount of damage is great on him. Very rarely you see take aim at level 1, so it's usually the headshot or the shrapnel. We'll see what he decides to go for this game. It's usually the max shrapnel. It's just Sniper's best ability, and then max headshot, max take aim. Take 1 point and take aim. You don't really need any more than that. We've got alright, in the top lane, this oh, that's pretty spicy. Oh, how long is this pause for? Maybe I should just skip it. Alright, they're ready to go. Alright, here we go. So Enigma already denying a range creep in this bottom lane should keep the lane equilibrium pushing towards the Dire side. So they're going to have to see Warlock do a lot of pulls to keep this lane in check. So PhD, actually I didn't even comment on the bounty. So they got 2 bounty runes on the side of Faithful Slark and Puckenberg. Very important you get these bounty runes for the Alchemist. He needs to get off to a good start this game. Otherwise, or just in general, Alch needs to get off to a good start. A lot of pressure going on to the Witch Doctor already. He had to put a point in cask early on, which is fine. Sometimes you see someone like PPD, you just go straight for the Voodoo Restoration at level 1. It depends on how hard you think the lane's gonna be. And Dazzle Sven sounds like a pretty scary lane. There's a lot of damage coming out of both of these heroes.
I don't think so.
Like I said, 5 HP regen and level 1 flesh heap. You should just pick it up. Like, it's so good. Like, it literally triples his regen right now.
First blood.
All right, first blood on the Dazzle. Yeah, it actually gets the Ursa. So Ursa not respecting the shadow poison. It's a pretty good ability, especially once it hits level 2. It does so much more damage. And this lane's gonna get pretty hard for Slark Puckenberg pretty soon. Sven also taking a lot of damage here. He doesn't have a salve, but he has a couple tangos. See what he decides to do to heal up. Probably should. Maybe Chilbo Swaggins will go for an early point in Voodoo Restoration just to keep the sustain up a bit. Gonna still nose points in the Flesh Heap by the Pudge, not reading the change logs and seeing how ridiculous Flesh Heap is. But it's fine. He's doing okay. He's gonna get farm in this lane just because Enigma's gonna keep pulling the wave back with the Eidolons, and he's got the Soul Ring now, so unlimited Eidolon spams coming out. This is just going to be trading farm. So putting the acid spray in deep to make sure the sniper has to stand really far back. Otherwise, he takes the acid spray damage when he goes for last hits. I like this a lot. 1-1-1 seems pretty sensible as well for the sniper at level 3. It's just going to be trading farm for now. But this lane is going to be pretty rough for the Weaver in terms of getting farm. Only 4 last hits so far compared to the Ursa, who's on 11. It's a lot easier to get last hits on Ursa than Weaver. Weaver's base damage is pretty high, but her attack animation is it's kind of hard to get used to. Oh, nice hook coming out onto the Warlock. No points in. Oh, finally a point in Malice versus he gets the mana for it at last. The Eidolons were converted really far back, so not going to be able to follow up on this, and they're getting pretty low from the Fatal Bonds. Weaver in a bit of trouble, has to Shikuchi out again, and actually will go down to the Eidolons. A Sentry Ward will just barely be in range for the attacks to go off. Nice pickup for Slark Puckenberg. Two points in the shrapnel, makes a lot of sense, and they just do the dance where they switch sides of the circle. But this does favor Sniper a lot more, just because you can always hit the Alchemist, but Alchemist won't be able to hit you back. Another shrapnel comes out. Actually, Weaver goes down again. He just TP'd back in. He must have gotten hooked. Nice shrapnel will cancel the bottle charge. He's getting pretty low. One more hit will finish off the Alch, but he's not going to get it. We'll salve up. But Sniper, he's completely out of shrapnel charges now. He's got one more in a couple seconds, but this is going to be his only one for 40 seconds. So the pressure from the Sniper is going to die down a little bit. So it looks like Pudge is going for the suicide because he didn't put any points into Flesh Heat. Might pick up that regen Invis rune first. A little bit odd. Nah, he's just got a suicide. But the bounty runes are coming out, so this might be a bit of a mistake coming out of the Pudge. Maybe he should respawn in time to TP in and take the bounty runes. It's very important as the Arc team to secure these bounty runes. It's going to be Witch Doctor against the Sven. Sven is not going to be able to let the Witch Doctor won't be able to get this bounty at all. Actually, did they lose all 4 bounty runes? No. Okay. The Alch actually picks up one. with his bottle as well, so that's pretty nice for him. But unfortunately, missing one of the bounty runes as an Alk feels pretty bad early on. You at least want to trade. So Pudge making a bit of a mistake there, I reckon, trying to suicide. I guess he couldn't have achieved too much on his own without hook. It's actually going to be like a position 4 style Pudge and not an offlane Pudge. Maybe that's why he went for the hook instead of the flush heap. But still, and the hook is like not that great. It like, you don't need to put more points on it. The cooldown reduction is nice, but the range doesn't scale anymore. It's 1300 range at all levels, which wasn't always the case. So really, you only need 1 point in the hook if you're feeling confident. Most of the time, you shouldn't even be using the hook to initiate. Oh, Sniper will just barely be able to kill the Sniper, but Sniper will end up going down to the creeps. Sniper does end up getting the experience first. That's pretty nice for him, and a bigger gold bounty as well, because the Alk is probably ahead on net worth than him. See what SK is going to be able to do on this Pudge. Gonna go for Tranquil Boots as well instead of Phase Boots. If you go for Phase Boots, you can always try to outrun them and then just run in and rot and then get the point blank meat hook. The point blank meat hooks are a lot easier to hit than the ranged meat hooks, so if you're able to just get on top of them without the hook, then you should just go for it because it's more reliable. This Dazzle's going to be pretty hard to hook. He's going to go for it? No, but isn't going to go for it, I guess. And this is it's time for Alk to do what Alk does. He's level 6, so he can just jungle now the level 3 acid spray. And no one on the side of Nvidia is going to be able to contest this, actually. It's kind of... They don't really have anyone who can just run into the enemy jungle safely. The Sniper definitely doesn't want to leave this lane for a long time. He wants to at least take out the mid tower before he leaves the lane. No one's given him an obs ward though, so it's pretty dicey for him to walk up this hill. Pudge already missed his hook, so it's going to be on cooldown for a long time. Quick Midas going to come out from the Enigma. Actually went for a headdress first, a little bit odd there, but could have had the Midas recipe by now. And it looks like this game is probably going to go late, honestly. Like, they've got Nvidia has a Sniper, so it's going to be pretty hard to push high ground. And once Sniper gets a pretty decent amount of farm, and he's off to a pretty good start. The fact that he's only 400 gold behind the Alk means he's doing quite well. And in terms of last hits, he's on par with the Alk, so this difference is more or less just the Greevil's greed, obviously, as well. Alk's been hitting these jungle creeps, so they're worth a bit less gold than the lane creeps, on average. But the Sniper's off to a pretty good start, so we'll see how this Sniper decides to build. He's gonna, go for a Maelstrom and a Hurricane Pike. That makes sense. The Maelstrom's a great item on Sniper overall, just gives him that extra bit of burst damage that he needs to really contribute to the team fights early on. Nice D-ward as well for the Sniper. This game is going to go the distance. Maybe we'll see Ursa go for a Midas as well, but not as common as about 2 months ago when everyone was buying Midas. Chilbros Wagons gets caught out by the creeps when he went to put the obs ward down. You can kind of tell where the creeps are going to be because you can see where your creeps are, right? So if your creeps are at your T2, their creeps are probably at their T2. So it's kind of like a... You can kind of gauge where the enemy creeps are going to be based on where your creeps are. Obviously things change when the creeps meet, but for the most part, if they're just walking down the lane, that's a good way to tell. So, not checking his own mini-map to see where his creeps were and then got caught out by the creeps. It hasn't been de-warded yet, so maybe they didn't see it at all. Dazzle is going to go for a Midas as well, which is kind of interesting. Also, probably acknowledging that this game is going to go late, and Dazzle scales great with items. The main reason you don't see Dazzle as a core is because he's not good enough to... his base kit isn't that great to be giving farm to, but if he does have farm, it's good. That cooldown reduction with the bad juju, probably going to see him build the greaves for his team. So 10-minute bounty runes, looks like it's going to be 3 going the way of the Alch team. It's pretty good stuff for the Alchemist. Already only 1,000 gold away from the Relic now, so this is going to be a pretty fast Radiance pickup. DD on the Sniper. He's probably going to put pressure on this mid lane. He's got the Catapult as well now. But one thing you should try with this Catapult wave at the 10-minute mark is try not to push out the enemy wave too fast, or if you maybe if you can instantly clear it, because now once these creeps go down, the siege wagon is gonna either get taken out straight away or you need a tank for it. Maybe we'll see Radiant fought for to save the siege creep. That's also another option. But yeah, instead the siege creep's gonna go down because Sniper definitely can't tank for the siege creep. Tech's gonna go take out Virgil, Fan, and Bammer. Guess a hook just came out. Hook misses onto the Warlock. He didn't even use the hook earlier because otherwise it wouldn't be off cooldown by now. Just runs up with a Rot, I assume. Takes out the Pudge. And it's just Enigma in a 1v1 with the Weaver. Weaver doesn't have time lapse yet. And this Enigma's already level 8 against this level 5 Weaver. Weaver gonna get level 6 in a little bit. Should be a bit easier to lane, and I'm not a big fan of this Linken's first build at all on Weaver, especially in this game. There's nothing that the Linken's really breaks. There's the cask, which is pretty inconsequential. The concoction, which it's okay, I guess. But all of these things, they're projectiles. You can always dodge them with the Sakuchi, because you can outrun most of the projectiles with the max movement speed. This Weaver probably should have gone for like a Diffusal or a Maelstrom instead, and try to get some earlier damage. Stomp Bolt onto the Pudge. He's pretty tanky. Still doesn't have any points in Flesh Heap. Just gonna TP out because there's no more stuns available from the side of Nvidia. The Chaos Golem and the Siege Creep do finally take out the top tower. Sniper also got the mid tower in the meantime, so already pretty good pace being set by Nvidia. But the Alch is the looming threat. He's got money for the Relic. He's about 1,000 gold away from the Radiance now. Ursa, he's kind of struggling a little bit right now. He's actually behind the Dazzle. It's actually going to be a core Dazzle. I didn't realize. Interesting. And an offlane Sven, not something you see too common. The roles are a bit switched here. So we'll see what the Sven decides to go for. No points in Cleave, which makes sense as a support. You definitely want the other two first. The stun doesn't really scale that well, so usually I would prefer to see Max Warcry. But again, Max Warcry got nerfed pretty hard by Ice Frog. Enigma gonna get a solo kill on the Sniper somehow. The Black Hole comes out. The Weaver's gonna go down as well. Wow, Fruitcake's getting a double kill on the two cores of Nvidia. I'm not really sure. They must have like underestimated him or something, because that really should have happened. Hook onto the Dazzle. He's gonna go down as well. No points in Grave yet, so just gonna end up falling there. And so great pickoffs, all three cores down on the side of Nvidia in back-to-back exchanges. 4k gold lead now, which is pretty normal if you have an Alchemist. So not an outrageous lead for Nvidia right now. It's expected. The Alch flies ahead, and the Enigma as well is expected to do pretty well in the laning phase. So going to be a big rotation coming down for the Enigma now. Fatal Bonds onto the Enigma and his Idolist. He's getting pretty low, gets hooked out. The Weaver's here now, going to finish off the Enigma. And Pudge in a lot of trouble as well. The Sniper going to be okay. And the Helmet Dominator creep goes down to the Sniper as well. So nice bit of gold injection for the Sniper. Going to go for the Hurricane Pike now. Tex, he's got his Morbid Master, so he can take Roche whenever he wants now. Maybe he should look to do that, but unfortunately, like, maybe he should wait until the Alch gets Radiance, which is now. But Alch is ready to fight. He's got the Radiance. He can make some space for the Ursa, to take Roche, and then maybe give the Roche to the Aegis to Alchemist. Just get that extra Radiance burn on the second life as well. Would be pretty sick. Dazzle gonna go for a Glimmer Cape, makes a lot of sense, pretty normal stuff. So the Midas and HOD done on the Enigma. Gonna go back for the
bottom tower under fire.
Go back for the Guardian Greaves now. Alright, Shrapnel goes down the bottom lane. It's just Weaver and Sniper. Hook misses on the Sniper, unfortunately, so they will be able to get out of there. 2 bounties each for the 15-minute mark. Not too bad.
Dire's bottom tower is
It's kind of hard to make moves on either side. Both of them don't really have a natural initiator. There's the Pudge, and you can keep trying until you get the hooks, but I mean, if you miss the hooks, it's a lot of time wasted. So it definitely feels bad when you miss the hooks. And on the side of Nvidia, they don't really have anyone to initiate, right? Like, they've just got the Sven, who may eventually get a blink. He doesn't even have boots yet, he's just finally got it on the courier now. Another missed hook from the Pudge, unfortunately. And this is really the reason we don't see Pudge, right? Like, it's very unreliable, and this isn't a core Pudge, so there's no chance of an ATOS anytime soon. Drops an Obs Ward right in front of 2 sentries on the side of Nvidia. Maybe we're gonna try and bait them in a little bit with the Pudge. This would be a pretty sick play. Gonna be pretty tough to take down this Weaver though. He can always just time-lapse out of the hook, depending on his reaction speed. But you can just mash out of it. It's gonna be pretty tough to get this kill on the Pudge. We'll see. Alright, Shikuchi comes out. But the Weaver just retreats. He definitely saw the Obs Ward, so we'll see if the Weaver wants to go for it. But this is very obviously a bait. So Weaver not gonna bite the bait. Good on him. Metastar on the way for the Alchemist will be pretty big, and this Blink as well. Sumail's made this one pretty popular. Sometimes we see the Blink before the Metastar, so you can initiate, and it's going to be pretty big for his team because no one right now can initiate on his team. Arcane Boot's done on the Warlock, so it's a position 5 Warlock. Not going to see too much come out of him this game. Just more wards on the courier for him. We'll see what this Sven decides to go for. I'm kind of hoping he goes for a Blink, just because they need that bit of catch that their team is missing right now.
Is under siege. Radiant structures are fortified.
We're gonna go back to farming. This is a really slow game, but once it gets started, I think it's gonna be pretty action-packed. The Alchemist, once he gets the Manta Style, it's gonna put on a lot of pressure on the enemy team. You just always send those illusions down lanes. It takes a lot to deal with them as well, especially if they're chemical raged up. He's gonna pick up an early Blink, so gonna be able to initiate with the Blink early on. 2 points at the concoction now. It's not too bad. 2.5 seconds stun if it's fully charged up. I like this a lot. I think he just wants to get active for his team. Maybe make some space for this Ursa to recover, because Ursa is a little bit in the dumpster right now compared to the other cores. But Weaver's even more in the dumpster. This is really the problem with this Linken's first build, because you really suffer from damage issues early on. The Linken's doesn't give you that much in the way of damage, just that plus 10 for more stats. He picks up the ultimate orb first instead of the Perseverance at least. I think the Perseverance gives you a bit of damage as well. Oh, it used to give damage, but it doesn't anymore. It used to give like 5 damage or something, but nothing too substantial. It's a lot of Eidolons coming out of the Enigma early on. It's already got the mech done. It's going to be really hard to kill Facebook's team once this mech is complete. Everyone except the Witch Doctor is actually really tanky. Hook onto the Sniper will take him out. Blink now done on the Ursa as well, so an extra avenue for initiation. Finally has a point in the Earthshock. He can go for Roche now if he wants as well. Seems like a pretty good time now that the Sniper is down. And this Weaver just getting run out by the Alchemist. This Weaver's so far behind. And I mean, this is one of the problems with Weaver right now. He's so squishy. God's Strength will come out onto the Enigma, but he just maxes up and walks away. He's really tanky. Meanwhile, Tex on the Ursa just diving the enemy backline, but he's in a little bit of trouble. Gets Storm Bolted and Shadow Poison. There's no points in the Voodoo Restoration yet for the Witch Doctor, but it looks like they're going to be okay. Potentially, he's going to go down. Getting a bit of gung-ho there on the Ursa. He's only got 1 point in the Earth Shock, so it's pretty hard to convert kills. 25% slows is not very good, but once you get like the second or third point, it becomes really nice. It's a 4-second slow and a 5-second cooldown. That seems pretty sensible.
Dire's top tower is under siege.
So 2 for 2 bounties again, but the Alk's already got his Radiance, so that's the important part done. About 1,000 gold away from his Manta Style as well. Greaves now done on the Dazzle. I guess this is going to be pretty sick. Just getting that reduced Greaves cooldown with bad Juju. See what Dazzle decides to go for next. He's actually going to go for an Aeon Disc. He doesn't want to go down to a hook. And Weaver just dies. So Concoction into a Dismember. It's pretty easy. And like, this is the point of the game where Al can just steamroll them. He's gonna charge up the Concoction, but hit himself. The rod onto the Sven will slow him down, and there's always a hook. The hook missed actually, so the Death Ward comes out. We'll finish off the Sven with the Radiance. They're gonna take this bot tower. They've got the catapult as well to make this a bit easier. I'm not sure why Alk isn't going down there himself. Being a bit of a lazy bum, his blink is getting cancelled by this this Pudge taking damage from something, probably the ancient creeps, the neutral creeps. And Greaves almost done in the Enigma, so once Enigma gets Greaves, it's time to join the fights. Like, don't even bother with split pushing at this point. So a T2 going down at 21 minutes into the game. We'll see what they decide to do after this. That mid tower, nice and juicy. It's not too hard to pick up. They can just tank the tower by now. So Dazzle might be in a bit of danger if he steps too far forward. If Pudge saw that, he should have seen that the creeps got pulled away. He's picking it out. Not really sure. Dazzle, don't quite see him yet. This ward doesn't quite see it. Now he sees that the... Nice! He gets the hook onto the Dazzle and gets the early Grave off before going down. The Chaos Golem goes down as well. The Dazzle is pretty inevitably doomed. Actually gets a lot of damage off onto the Pudge. The Pudge will eventually go down. The Alchemist Concoction onto the Sven will stun him up for a bit, but the Ursa also ends up going down. Enigma not quite joining his team there. Maybe wants to go for a blink next, just to get that a little bit of more mobility. Actually a pretty good trade for Nvidia, actually, an 800 gold swing. It went a lot better than I expected. They hooked the Dazzle early on, got him killed, but the Dazzle stayed alive for a really long time. He managed to get a Grave before the Dismember went off. And then, you know, used the heal, used the Greaves, and then stayed alive for a couple more seconds. Got a couple of bad Juju stacks off as well, which is pretty nice. So Sniper finished up with the Hurricane Pike now. He's going for a full glass cannon mode. Actually, he had the Daedalus keyed up. We're going to go for a Butterfly instead. I think I like the Butterfly a little bit better. The Daedalus doesn't do that well early on. You really need the extra attack speed from the Butterfly before you go for the Daedalus. BKB also not going to be that useful this game. The Pudge goes through it, the Enigma goes through it, Ursa's eventually going to build an Abyssal which goes through it. I kind of agree that going Glass Cannon is probably the way this game. It's only the Alk and the Witch Doctor.
Radiant's middle tower is taking damage.
But like, you shouldn't be letting these two heroes get in range. So Tex will finally take the Aegis, not giving it to the Alchemist. A little bit questionable, but I guess Alk is just farming away at top, so not in range to get it. Nice blink forward from the Ursa. You're gonna get the Earth Shock, but it's only level 2, so not gonna be stunned that much. The Sniper just walks away. He's got a Hurricane Pike as well, so it's gonna be pretty hard to kill this Sniper now. You can always just pike out of there. We see a couple more Hurricane Pikes come out. Gonna have an Aeon Disc come out from the Warlock as well. Gonna spam those Aeon Discs on the side of Nvidia, and this Aeon Disc on Dazzle is gonna be pretty cool because now he gets the cooldown reduction on the Aeon Disc. He's gonna be alive a lot longer. Pudge gets the hook onto Dazzle, but he's gonna end up going down to the Weaver. Weaver finally finishes up his Linkins. He's gonna go for a Desolator now. His team does need the minus armor, and the armor on the side of Facebook isn't that high. It's the Alk actually has a Shiva's Guard now, so it's going to be pretty decent. But Pudge isn't going to really build armor. He's only got 3 armor. Didn't go for face boots. And the Enigma was a pretty decent chunk of armor, I suppose. And this Dazzle really struggling with these illusions already. And these arc illusions are only going to get scarier. 20-minute bounty runes, or 25-minute bounty runes, 3 going the way of Facebook, a great boon for them.
Radiant's middle tower is being attacked.
And almost taking out that mid tower. It'd be pretty important to open up the jungle. They have this whole area exposed, but they have to come in through bot instead of through mid. So it's kind of tough if this mid tower is still alive. And I'm really surprised they've been able to keep it alive for so long. Ursa finally finished the Basher, so he's got solo kill potential now. It's going to be a lot easier to convert on these kills. Also the level 4 Earth Shock. Another pause comes out from Tex. He's definitely map hacking here. Gonna see where the enemy is. Sniper's halfway to his butterfly now, so we'll see if he decides to stay for buyback. I think at this point of the game, I mean, Facebook doesn't push that quickly. They've got the Enigma with, he's got a catapult creep dominated, but other than that, they're not that fast at pushing. So maybe Sniper will just sell off one of these Wraith Bands, or move this South out of his backpack, into his backpack, and buy the Eagle Song at least, just to get that nice boost in damage. And the other thing I like about the butterfly here is, like, Ursa and Ark, they don't want to be buying MKBs. It's not that kind of hero. So this butterfly is going to give him a lot of effective HP against these two heroes. Warlock, he has money for an Aeon Disc if he wants to buy one. Just disassemble the mana boots, pick up the Vibe Booster, and then he has an Aeon Disc, and this is pretty sick actually. I think it's pretty cool that they're all going for Aeon Discs. Just being able to survive an Ursa initiation. Tex asking for some tech support from the Nvidia team. It's like those cool kids in the playground who make fun of you for having a bad graphics card. So Pudge almost done with the blink now as well. I would have liked to see an ATOS. I think that would be, you know, you can line up the hooks a bit easier, and with blink you have to put yourself in a dangerous position usually if you're blinking into the enemy team, whereas if you get the ATOS you can get a hook and pull them towards your team. So I feel like ATOS generally has a little bit more utility. It's got an easier build up as well. Scan comes out from Nvidia. We'll be able to clip the side of Facebook. Good scan coming out of them. Malifus being blocked by the stun, but Weaver, he can always just Shikushi out of there. There's not much to stop him. The black hole didn't quite come out. Maybe they should have just used it, but it's fine. End up getting the tower. Fruitcake's looking for the big team fight ulti, and Pudge, he's in position, goes for a hook, he gets a hook onto the Dazzle, dismembers straight away, but the Aeon Disc procs and Dazzle will be able to just walk out of there. Meanwhile, Fruitcakes is in a lot of trouble, the Death Ward comes out, but gets cancelled by the Warlock Golem, and now Black Hole is available. They have the Chaos Golem is down for a long time. Assassinate onto the Enigma, but he'll just end up TPing out. Meanwhile, Alk is in a little bit of trouble. He uses his Chemical Rage. Do they have the damage to finish him off? Another stun is going to come out from Sven in a few seconds. It's the God Strength comes out, and the blink forward from the Sven. Oh, Assassinate Sense? Okay, so Alk is out. He manages to not take damage for 3 seconds, and he just blinks out. Great stuff from the Alk. So the Aeon Disc already proving useful, and it's only got a 74-second cooldown. That's pretty cool. I'm digging this Aeon Disc build. But it's a long time where Enigma can just get a black hole off for free now. There's always the Assassinate to cancel it, I suppose. But I'm actually not sure if Assassinate goes through Magic Immunity. It's not clear from the wording. Maybe Dota 2 wiki will help me out here. Assassinate. It doesn't pierce spell immunity. I thought the damage pierce spell immunity. No, the damage doesn't pierce spell immunity, but like maybe the stun does. But I suppose it doesn't at all. Blink forward from Tex, gets the shock onto Sniper. Sniper getting really low, gets scraped up before he goes down. The 4-man black hole will finish off the team. There's no Chaos Golem to cancel it, and it's a full team wipe for Team Facebook. Great stuff by the Enigma. 5 for 0. They just all grouped up for the black hole and there was nothing to cancel it.
Radiant's middle tower is being attacked.
So excellent awareness by Fruitcase, not understanding that he's free to use black hole when whoever he wants this right now, because there's no chaos offering to cancel it. They're gonna go high ground. They don't push that fast, but all 5 are down on the side of Nvidia. So it looks like they'll get this tower at least. They might get the racks as well. Sniper's not up for 30 seconds, and he bought the Eagle Song, so not gonna have buyback. But it's only 1 racks. At this point, it's not like the most devastating loss. Like if you lost this 5 minutes ago, that would be really bad for your team. But at this point, it's not good, but it's not the end of the game yet. BKB almost done the Ursa now as well. Gonna see the Octarine Core come out next for Alchemist, just get that cooldown reduction. The lifesteal as well, and the Radiance is pretty sick. Bounty Runes come out, it's gonna be 2 for 2 again, so no one from Facebook TPing bot to grab them early on. But it looks like they're just gonna continue the push. They still have the Aegis on the Ursa. Actually no, it ran out. That was a while ago. Aeon Disc now done on the Warlock. He decides to disassemble his mana boots at last. He could have gotten this like 3 minutes ago, I feel like. Gonna go for a refresher next, but it's gonna be a long time before he gets this. I would just assume that he's not gonna get the refresher this game. Didn't go for a Midas either, so it's gonna be a long time away. Treads now being completed on Sven, the casual 30-minute treads on the support Sven. Kind of odd. BKB almost done on the Enigma now, so now it's just going to be the Chaos Golem that can cancel his ulti. Unless Dazzle decides to go for Abyssal Blade, that would be pretty cool, I guess, or maybe Sven will. But it's a support Sven, so not too likely. Only 1 point in the cleave as well, so doesn't farm too fast. Weaver has almost got money for a Deso, but we'll see if Weaver wants to stay for buyback. I mean, he's pretty much a non-factor in these fights. Maybe he should just go for the Deso and try and deal some damage in the fight instead of 0. He hits decently hard, but it's like everyone on the side of Facebook is so tanky. 2.6k HP, Octarine Core, 31 armor. This guy has 2.5k HP, only 3 armor, so probably not that much. And Ursa with the 80% damage reduction on the Enrage, and then 20 armor to boot, 2k HP. There's a lot of, they're pretty tanky on the side of Facebook. The Deso will help a lot with the minus armor, but even then, this Sniper is gonna have to hit pretty hard. Has his Butterfly done now. Gonna go for a Skadi next. I like the Skadi choice a lot, just being able to slow down the enemy team. It's pretty difficult to go up against a Skadi as a melee core. So I like the itemization coming out of Sniper. It also helps him tank up a bit so he won't get instantly blown up all the time. So Dazzle gonna go for an Aether Lens. Going to go back for an Aether Lens. He also took the cast range challenge. It's gonna be get those really long range graves off. And no, I think that just makes sense. Almost got level 18 for the level 3 bad Juju as well. So Weaver's got money for the Deso now. Alk, he's pretty much 6-slotted. The last thing he needs is Boots Travel for himself. And then gonna start passing out the Ags. First Ags should probably go to the Witch Doctor. But I wouldn't mind seeing it on the Pudge actually, because they've been relying so much on this Pudge to get initiation. So the 4-second hook cooldown would be pretty nice for their team, because I mean the Witch Doctor's ulti is nice, but who's gonna start the fight? There's no point in getting an upgraded Death Ward if you're not gonna fight. I mean Ursa's also a great candidate. I don't think Enigma has an Axe anymore. He used to, but oh. Maybe it's still the same. He like applies the Midnight Pulse on the black hole. Not really sure. Let me double check. Oh, the lag, dude. It's so bad. Apparently Chrome is like making Dota 2 lag pretty hard. Alright, so yeah, he just adds the Midnight Pulse to the black hole. I thought they changed that at some point, but it's okay, but it's not the best. Alright, hook on the sniper. Sniper doesn't have buyback. The ulti comes out from the Warlock to save him, but now the black hole is available. Nice Grave will save the sniper as well. Maybe they don't need the Warlock ulti, because now this Enigma has free reign. He's got his BKB ready as well. The Roshan goes down as well, so Aegis Cheese now on the side of Facebook. It's going to be really difficult for Nvidia to hold. The Chaos Golem ends up going down as well.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Haha's come out. It's going to be pretty hard to hold this. Actually, Sniper does have money for buyback now. What am I talking about? He must have just gotten it. Alright, Stormbolt onto the Enigma, but they're not going to be able to kill him. He's a bit too tanky for them. Weaver doesn't quite have enough damage. Actually, he's getting pretty low. A lot of minus armor coming out, and the cheese comes out onto the Enigma, so going to force the BKB out as well. Pretty important stuff for the Weaver, so great plays by Bonta, and the Pudge goes down on the back line. Pudge getting a little bit too gung-ho on the enemy side, just trying to jump in. The God Strength is popped for some reason. A bit confusing there. Gonna go for a Spirit Vessel on the Sven. Someone does need to build it against the Alchemist to stop that regen. But they're gonna go back for the bounty runes. All 4 bounty runes going the way of Facebook. He has money to buy an Axe for someone now, so I kind of hope we see it on the Pudge first. But it would be okay with giving it to the Witch Doctor as well. So actually Weaver did a pretty decent chunk of damage there with just the Mana Break talent and the Deso. Gonna go for a Daedalus next. Interesting. I feel like Diffusal is definitely the way to go in Weaver these days, just to get the extra slow, and now you burn 70 mana per hit with the Mana Break talent as well, which is more than AM's, so you could just be a more nimble AM with time lapse. So let's see who got the Axe. It was Ursa. Ursa got the Axe. Interesting. I suppose it's fine. I don't think he really needs it. He just picked up a BKB and he probably wants to use his Enrage during the BKB. So the 80% status resistance is not going to be that great. And what is there to cancel? What is there to dispel? I guess he can dispel Stormhammer. I feel like this is a bit of a wasted opportunity. He could have just given it to the Pudge and increased the chances of an initiation going well. But it's fine. The Alk's already halfway to the next act. Gonna go for BTs now, so his inventory is complete. Maybe backpack that phase boost or sell it. Hook onto the Weaver, gets him, but he's just gonna time lapse out. Blink forward on the Ursa, just Sakuchi's out. Nice blink storm forward. Yeah, okay, so you just need Enrage to get rid of the storm hammer. But the hook just barely misses the Weaver. I suppose Ursa can make those more aggressive plays now that the Enraged Strong dispels himself. Hook just barely misses the Sven. He's able to blink out in time. Nice reactions from the Sven there. Sniper has money for, almost has money for the Skadi now. Be a pretty big pickup, but he should definitely stay for buyback at this point of the game. It's getting scary for Nvidia. If they make one mistake, the game's over. Especially if they don't have buyback. So we'll see how Facebook decides to approach this. They still have the Aegis on the Ursa. Probably not for much longer. Like 40 more seconds and then Aegis is going to expire. So it looks like Facebook are going to try and make a move now. They smoke up to try and conceal this Enigma's location. Make sure that they can't just cancel it. Blink forward aggressively by the punch. Gets the hook onto the Warlock. The Chaos Golem goes down. So again, the Enigma's just able to run freely in this fight. The Warlock will eventually go down, so will his Chaos Golem. The Weaver's in now. Gets a nice swarm on a lot of heroes. Gonna push them back a little bit. Greaves comes out on the Enigma to heal them all up. So they're pretty topped up at this point. Warlock was also forced to buy back, but he can't really contribute much to the fight anymore. Just the Fatal Bonds. He's just a Fatal Bonds machine at this point. Maybe some upheaval as well. So Aegis has finally expired on the Ursa, and maybe we'll see what Facebook decide to do here. I mean, Pudge just needs to get a hook, and then he can start the fight that way. He just keep throwing hooks until Lee gets one. This is why the Ags would have been a better idea on him. But he's also got the BKB. Another hook comes out, just barely misses the Dazzle. And Ark will eventually get this tower.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
There's a lot of spam coming out from Nvidia, so it's going to be pretty hard to push this high ground, especially against a sniper. And this Pudge is in a bit of trouble from the Weaver. The minus armor dealing a lot of damage to him. Minus 7 armor by the Deso, and he took the swarm attacks to kill. I like this a lot. Pudge doesn't hit very fast. Ursa doesn't actually hit that fast if he doesn't have Enrage, and you probably don't want to overpower. And you probably don't want to waste your overpower on the bugs. Alk does hit pretty fast. He's got another axe lined up now. We'll see who he decides to give it to this time. Octarine gonna come out next for the Dazzle. I believe that cooldown reduction stacks additively. So he's gonna go down to 75, go up to 75% cooldown reduction. Don't quote me on that one. I'm not too sure. There's not that many sources of cooldown reduction, so you don't really see it that often. Sniper gets hooked again. Finally gets graved up, so not gonna need to waste the ulti on that. He doesn't have his 4 stuff available. Black Hole comes out onto 3 heroes in the mid lane, and Sniper will get hooked again on the back lines, and gonna try and man up against his punch. He's gonna take him out. No, he just barely goes down. Sniper forced to buy back the Weaver as well, and all chaos is breaking loose in the enemy in Nvidia's base. Enigma in a lot of trouble. He's just gonna get taken out, unable to get hooked out in time, and the Alk in a little bit of trouble as well. Weaver causing other chaos on the front lines. Gonna continue chasing here, but it's getting pretty risky for him. MKB gonna get completed now on the Ursa. He couldn't take out that sniper earlier because of the evasion. The sniper survived way longer than I expected. Almost killed the Pudge before dying. So the Pudge does have the Ags now. He can just keep going for these hooks. Maybe we'll see him buy a mana regen item so he can sustain himself a little bit. It's always nice to see that 8th lens on Pudge as well. Get that extra range for the both the hook and the dismember. Another axe done on the Alchemist now. Probably gonna give this one to the Witch Doctor this time.
Relentless.
So Weaver actually did a pretty decent chunk of damage that fight. So not as irrelevant as he once was, but it's still kind of difficult to get damage out as Weaver. You gotta put yourself in pretty dangerous positions. His attack range is pretty low. And usually you gotta aggressively Shikuchi in to get the damage. So you need to survive for a little bit before your Shikuchi's back up so you can have an exit plan. He's gonna just buy out the Chrysalis because he bought back there. The Sniper also bought back, so he's just gonna buy out his Scotty. He's pretty close to it. It's gonna be a big power spike for the Sniper because it's going to increase his survivability a lot. It's going to make it really hard for the side of Facebook to run away. But I didn't even realize they were 37k gold ahead, but they don't really feel that far ahead. The Sniper is pretty jacked up, and so is the Dazzle. Dazzle has money for the Octarine Core if he wants to buy it, but should probably save for buyback at this point. Sven doesn't have buyback, and Warlock, his buyback is on cooldown, but again, not that impactful. Sven should probably stay for buyback at this point. He needs to hit some creeps right now. Give some time for himself instead of to the Carols. And third Roche is up. This one is Refresher as well for the double black hole. It's going to be pretty terrifying to go up against. And Essen now with the MKB will be able to instantly blow up this Sniper. This evasion is not as effective anymore. The Blade Mail as well done onto Pudge, so he can just run in and be that meat shield. If people attack him, he can just Blade Mail and either deal damage back to them or force them to back off and find another target. So Ursa, look at the Aegis again. Makes sense, the Alk's completely 6-slotted now, there's no more room for items. Maybe you could give up the Blink, but you probably want the Blink to jump in with the Concoction. So Scotty now done on the Sniper. This is gonna be the last hurrah for Nvidia. There's the double black hole as well, it's gonna be super scary to go up against. Refresher, oh, Ag's now done on the Witch Doctor as well. It's gonna be pretty tough to stop that.
I'll take that.
We'll see if Fruitcake's able to get another multi-man black hole. Even if he doesn't, he can just use the second one. If he catches 2, I'd say that's more than enough. Provided that the 2 die in the black hole. Blink forward from the Ursa, gets the bash onto the Sniper. Sniper's gonna go down, he doesn't have buyback! This is huge! Sniper's down for 115 seconds! And, oh yikes, this is looking like the end of the game for Nvidia. I have no idea how they're gonna hold that Sniper. Gets hooked, caught out of position, and this game's gonna be over pretty soon. The double black hole as well. Weaver also doesn't have buyback anymore either. This Weaver's gonna... it's got a lot of weight on his shoulders, and he's not very strong. Blink forward again. First hit bash on the Weaver, gets hooked, taken out. Weaver's down for 115 seconds as well. These bashes, pretty good. Nice. Blink forward, dismember, onto the Dazzle. Dazzle has the nice too. Yeah, we're just gonna watch the beginning of this. Nice hook into black hole combo. That's definitely an intended combo. Another black hole comes out just to finish off the Warlock, and this game is over. 5 heroes dead, no buybacks on any of them.
Radiant's middle tower is taking damage.
This Pudge doing a pretty decent amount of work. He's gotten some successful hooks. Mid game was looking a bit dry, that really picked it up in that late game there. So great showing from Slark Puckenberg. I like the item decisions from Nvidia. They made some interesting item decisions that they could work. It's like it's a little bit creative, but I don't mind that too much. The Aeon discs are pretty cool against the Pudge, but yeah, the Sniper getting caught out right at the end without any buybacks, it really hurts them. They did pretty well in the early game as well, for the most part, and then obviously they had an Alk, and Alk just took over the game. So I feel like the Weaver probably didn't have as much impact as we would expect from a Weaver. Also, the offlane Dazzle is like not a hero, not something we see too often either. He just doesn't have the same impact as like the Enigma, for instance, or like a Tide Hunter. No big team fight ultimates. there's just the Chaos Golem, but he kept having to use it defensively on not the Black Hole, the Dismember or the Death Ward. He used it a few times, and afterwards Warlock isn't that effective.